Oh, he tends to open with his king's pawn when he's happy with just a draw, Magnus. We've seen that throughout the years in World Championship matches. This, of course, a big game for him. He goes to d4 this time. As the round of applause down there in the arena, forcing Jan Nepomniachtchi to think.
E6, nice. Okay, that's nice. If E4, we get a French, which is cagey. And there we are. Okay. Nice E3. Knight of 6. Here we go.
The French defense, it's got a bit of a repetition right at the top, but in the World Championship match, we saw it so many times. It was Ding Liren's repertoire against the white pieces, and we might be seeing it a lot more at the top level played on. Magnus himself has never been a fan of the French.
He's never been too much of a fan of the French. He's dabbled with both colours, of course. I'm really shocked, I've got to say, to see Magnus avoid the exchange variation. In the meantime, though, he's clearly been paying attention to the World Chess Championship, Gukesh against Ding, because that A3 move on the previous turn that Magnus just played was played by Gukesh with success in the World Championship match. He got a great position later in that game. And we see the white knight's a bit clumsy, but white has won Connect 4, so has occupied the centre, solidified the centre. In the meantime, Jan is fighting against this central strategy with a wing strategy, maybe aiming to bring his knight in a bit later.
So Magnus not the only one who's been paying attention to the World Championship match, and Jan also figuring out the right way to respond to this fresh idea that Team Gukesh had come up with in that match, pushing that A3 pawn. And this, I think, is a new position already, right? Magnus, he goes in with the king side, pushes that H pawn, targeting the queen on the other side. There's so much going on both flanks here, David, but general strategy for white is to play on the right side of the board. It is the pawn pointing theorem. We see that big pawn chain that Magnus has. It points towards the right side, towards the king side, which means in the future we can see an attack developing there.
Definitely. And white's already hinted at that, Magnus, with the AlphaZero-esque neural network suggestion of pushing the H-pawn forward. You often actually develop your rook kind of up the board. You lift it. Of course you do. And yeah, it's just hard to develop the king, kind of get it to safety, hard to castle, hard to get the bishop out either. And Jan keeps his options open. I wonder whether he'll be tempted by a different type of pawn break. F6 in the air. Okay, Magnus, in the meantime, improves his bishop.
Yeah, and this whole idea of the knight retreating back to E2, that was a B1 knight. Let's remind everyone, that's not the king side knight that's landed up there. It all revolves around solidifying the D4 square, the soul of white's pawn center, and then eventually transferring that knight to the king side.